Hello, my name is Lisa McKnight, and this is my presentation on the circumference and area of a circle for our library research project in our college math class here at Full Sail University. So what we'll be looking at in this presentation is what exactly is the circumference and area of a circle. We'll take a moment to look at some background and historical facts. And lastly, we'll see how these concepts can apply to two different Full Sail University programs. So first, let's look at the circumference. Circumference is the distance around the perimeter of a circle. So this line going around here represents the circumference. The formula for finding the circumference is C equals 2 times pi, which is 3.14 times the radius, or pi times diameter. A side note to remember is that the diameter equals the radius times 2, and that pi is the ratio or relationship of a circle's circumference to its diameter. So let's look at an example of a circle given the radius, and let's try to find the circumference. And the radius is the distance from the center of the circle to the perimeter. So this line from the center to the edge represents the radius. So let's say the radius is 14 inches, and we can take the circumference equals 2 times pi times r, which would be 2 times 3.14 times 14. And doing the order of operations, the rule is that you do multiplication from left to right. So we have 2 times 3.14 equals 6.28 times 14. It gives you the answer 87.92. Then we can round it to the nearest tenth, or whichever is easier. I'm going to round to the nearest tenth, which gives you C equals 87.9 inches for that circle. So let's do the same circle but using the diameter. So we know that the diameter is the radius times 2. So 14 times 2 will give you 28. The diameter goes from one edge of the circle through the center and ends on the other side. So our diameter will be 28 inches. So let's use the formula pi times diameter, which will be 3.14 times 28, which will give us the same answer of 87.92. Again, we can round to the nearest tenth and get the circumference of the circle is 87.9 inches. Another way to check your answer, you can take the circumference and divide it by the diameter, and you will get pi. So 87.92 divided by 28 equals 3.14. So now let's look at the area. So the area of a circle is the amount of space actually occupied by the circle. So all this area in here occupied by the circle is the area. So the formula for finding the area of a circle is pi times the radius squared, or pi divided by 4 times the diameter squared. Now let's look at an example of the same circle. Let's find the area of that circle given the radius. So the radius again was 14 inches. So we take pi times the radius squared, which would be 3.14 times 14 squared. Again, the rule of the order of operations is to find the value of the exponents first. So it would be 3.14 times 196. And that will give you an area of 615.44 inches squared. And I'm going to round to the nearest tenth. And so this circle has an area of 615.4 inches squared. So let's find the area of that same circle by using the diameter. And again, we should get the same exact answer. So again, the diameter of that circle will be 28 inches. So let's do pi divided by 4 times the diameter squared, which would be 3.14 divided by 4 times 28 squared. Again, the rule in the order of the operations is to do the operation inside of the parentheses first. So 3.14 divided by 4 will give us 0.785. And 28 squared is 784. So 0.785 times 784, which we then get A equals 615.44 inches squared, which is the same that we got earlier using the radius. So round to the nearest tenth, again, the area of the circle is 615.4 inches squared. Now let's quickly look at some background and historical facts. Fact number 1 is on the Exploratorium website. It states that the ancient Babylonians calculated the area of a circle by taking 3 times the square of its radius, which gave a value of pi equals 3. Fact number 2 is that the ancient Egyptians calculated the area of a circle by a formula that gave the approximate value of pi as 3.1605. Fact number 3, in an article by Mirko Dejek entitled Amazing Archimedes, number 22/7, Archimedes of Syracuse was able to express the relation between the circumference of a circle and its diameter by using the approximate value of pi as 22/7, which comes to 3.14. And lastly, fact number 4, according to the Exploratorium website, the first calculation of pi was done by Archimedes of Syracuse. He showed that pi is between 3 and 1/7 and 3 and 10/71, or you can use this expression that pi, which is the relationship of the circumference of a circle to its diameter, is greater than 3 and 1/7 and less than 3 and 10/71. Now let's look at the way the concept of circumference and area can be applied to an actual real life scenario in the Full Sail program of media communications, which is the program I'm currently in. So let's say if I was a project manager or event planner and I was throwing or managing an event that involved a round stage, and the stage was not exactly the color that I would want it to be. But being that I'm renting the venue, I cannot do major change to the stage, but I could put a carpet over it or some type of other material. So I would need to measure the stage and get the circumference and the area of the stage. So let's say I measured the stage and it was 20 feet in diameter. So that means we'd have a radius of a 10-foot stage going across. So the diameter would be 20 feet and the radius from the center to the edge would be 10 feet. So I could take the pi times the diameter, which would be the easiest way to find the circumference, which is the area around the stage. And I would take 3.14 times 20, and I would get 62.8 feet. And I could round that to the nearest foot and say that I have a stage with a circumference of 63 feet. So if I also want to find the area of that stage, which is all the area inside of that circle stage, what it covers, I could take the formula pi times the radius squared, which we know the radius of that stage would be 10 feet. So it would be 3.14 times 10 squared, which would be 3.14 times 100. So I would know that the area of this stage would be 314 feet squared. So I then could get a carpet to cover the stage the way that I want it to be. In the another program would be graphic design, and if I was in the graphic designer career, and we'll look at a scenario of a logo involving a circle for a poster. So let's say I presented this logo, which I just made this logo up, and these are my initials, LAM. But let's say the client liked the logo and the poster, but they just didn't necessarily like the color. So I would want to make another poster, but make sure that I have the same size circle with the same proportions to the letters. So in order to get a very precise duplication of this, I would want to find the measurements of the circumference of this circle and the area. So first I would measure the diameter, which I say I got 12 inches, and I would know the radius is 6 inches. So I would do pi times the diameter, which is 3.14 times 12, and that comes to C equals 37.68. And rounded to the nearest tenth, we get the circumference of 37.7 inches. I could then still use the formula and the measurements to find the area, which is the space occupied by this circle. Pi times the radius squared, 3.14 times 6 squared, 3.14 times 36, because 6 squared is 36. And that will give me an answer of 113.04. And round to the nearest tenth, which give me the area of the circle, which is 113 inches squared. Thank you again for watching, and I hope that this presentation was helpful. Thank you.